What if your laziness, your irritability, or your silence isn't actually you? What if it's depression wearing your personality like a mask? Depression doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like scrolling on your phone for hours because your brain can't start the day. Sometimes it looks like losing interest in people you love, even though you don't want to. And the scariest part? Most people don't realize these are symptoms. They just assume something is wrong with their personality. So in this video, we're going to break down 12 signs of depression that often hide in plain sight. No medical jargon, no fear-mongering, just real explanations, real examples, and maybe a moment where something finally clicks for you. If you've ever felt off but couldn't explain why, give yourself these next few minutes. It might make more sense than you expect. Sign number 1. The quiet sadness you can't name. Some people think depression is all tears and breakdowns, but for many, it starts as a quiet sadness that doesn't even feel like sadness. It feels more like numbness. You wake up, stare at the ceiling, and there's no clear reason to feel bad. Yet something in your chest feels heavy, like a muted ache you can't describe. You go to work, answer messages, smile when you need to. But deep down, everything feels slightly dimmed, as if life lost a layer of color. Here's the strange part. Most people ignore this sign because it doesn't interrupt their routine. They're still functioning, still showing up, still fine. But ask yourself this: when was the last time you genuinely felt joy without forcing it? Psychologists call this emotional blunting, and it often shows up before classic sadness. It's your brain quietly lowering the volume on your feelings to avoid overload. And once this happens, the next sign begins to creep in. Sign number 2. The joy that doesn't come back. Loss of interest. Anhedonia. One of the most confusing signs of depression is when the things that used to light you up suddenly don't. Your favorite music feels quiet. Your hobbies feel like chores. Even the people you love feel distant, like you're watching life happen from behind glass. Maybe you used to binge shows, paint, play games, or talk for hours with a friend. And now, you open the app, pick up the brush, or dial the number, and nothing inside you moves. No spark, no pull. Just a flat, heavy, whatever. This isn't laziness. This isn't you outgrowing your interests. This is your brain losing the ability to generate reward. The emotional yes signal. And here's the real twist. Sometimes you still do the activity, hoping the joy will return. But it doesn't. Researchers say anhedonia affects the brain's dopamine pathways, making pleasure harder to feel, even when life objectively looks good. And when joy fades like this, another part of daily life starts to fall apart. Sign number 3. Nights that don't end, or mornings you can't wake up. Sleep disruption. Depression loves to mess with sleep, and it usually swings to one extreme or the other. For some people, night becomes a battle. You're exhausted, but the moment you lie down, your mind starts replaying conversations, worries, random thoughts that don't even matter. You check the clock, 1:48 a.m., then 3:12, then 4:27. And when the sun finally rises, you feel like you never slept at all. But for others, it's the opposite. You sleep 10, 12, even 14 hours. Yet you wake up feeling like your body is filled with sand. You're not resting. You're escaping. Staying asleep feels easier than facing a day you don't have energy for. And here's the part most people don't realize. Both extremes mean the same thing. Your internal rhythm is falling apart. Studies show that disrupted sleep and depression feed each other in a loop. Poor sleep worsens mood, and low mood destroys sleep quality, creating a cycle that's hard to break without recognizing what's happening. And when your nights and mornings fall apart like this, your energy during the day starts to collapse too. Sign number 4. The fatigue that lives in your bones. Crushing fatigue. This isn't the kind of tired you fix with a nap. This is a heaviness that sits in your body like wet cement. You wake up already exhausted. Getting out of bed feels like dragging yourself through thick mud. Simple things, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, sending an email, feel strangely overwhelming. People around you might say, "You just need more sleep," or "You're being lazy," but they don't see the invisible weight pressing on every part of your day. Your energy bar isn't just low, it's stuck at 1%. And here's the thing. This kind of fatigue doesn't match your activity level. You can rest all weekend and still feel wiped out. So ask yourself, when was the last time you felt fully rested for even one morning? Research suggests this fatigue comes from the body staying in a prolonged stress response. Your nervous system is constantly on low battery mode, conserving energy because your brain thinks you're in danger, even when nothing obvious is happening. And once your energy collapses, another daily ritual starts to shift. Sign number 5, food that feels meaningless. Appetite changes. Depression can change your relationship with food in ways that feel confusing. For some people, nothing tastes good anymore. You open the fridge, stare at the shelves, and close it again because the idea of eating feels pointless. You skip meals without noticing, and by the time you realize it's 8 p.m., you've had nothing but coffee. But for others, it goes the opposite direction. You find yourself snacking non-stop. Chips, sweets, comfort food. Not because you're hungry, but because for a few seconds, it gives your brain a tiny hit of relief. It's not about food. It's about filling an emotional silence. Both patterns are symptoms. Both are real. But here's the question that reveals everything. Do you eat to fuel your body or to escape your feelings? Scientists have found that depression disrupts the reward circuits tied to appetite, which is why your hunger signals stop matching your body's actual needs. It's the brain, not the willpower. And when appetite shifts like this, the mind often turns inward in a much harsher way. Sign number 6, the inner judge that never rests, guilt and worthlessness. This sign is one of the most painful, not because others can see it, but because it lives in your thoughts. Depression has a way of twisting everything into evidence against you. You make one small mistake, and suddenly your brain says, "See, you always mess things up." Someone doesn't reply to your message, and you assume it's your fault. You start apologizing for things you didn't even do. It's like having a judge in your mind who only knows one verdict: guilty. Even good moments get ruined by thoughts like, "You don't deserve this," or "Everyone will leave once they see the real you." And here's the trap. The more you listen to this voice, the louder it gets. Therapists call this cognitive distortion, the brain filtering out every positive detail and exaggerating the negative ones. It's not truth, it's a symptom, a sign that your brain's emotional radar is malfunctioning. And when self-worth collapses like this, even thinking clearly becomes a struggle. Sign number 7, when your brain feels like fog, trouble concentrating. Depression doesn't just affect emotions, it affects thinking. You sit down to read a message, and halfway through, you forget what the first sentence said. Someone talks to you, and their words feel like they're dissolving before they reach your mind. Even choosing what to eat for dinner feels strangely overwhelming. It's not because you're distracted or careless. It's because your brain is running on low processing power. When your emotional system is overloaded, your cognitive system starts shutting down to compensate. It's like trying to run a full computer program on 2% battery. You start missing deadlines, zoning out in conversations, or rereading the same paragraph 3 times and still not absorbing it. And the scariest part? You notice it, and it makes you worry something is wrong with you. Studies show that depression reduces activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for focus, decision-making, and memory. So your struggles aren't a lack of discipline. They're a neurological response to emotional overload. And when your mind slows down like this, your body often follows. Sign number 8, a body that moves wrong, too fast or too slow, agitation or slowed movement. Depression doesn't always stay in your head. Sometimes it shows up in your body. For some people, it turns into restlessness. You pace around the room, tap your foot, rub your hands together, like your body has energy your mind can't use. You can't sit still, and you don't know why. For others, it's the complete opposite. Everything slows down. Your movements feel heavy, your reactions delayed. You walk slower, talk slower, even think slower, as if your whole body is moving through thick syrup. People around you may notice before you do. They might say you seem off, tired, or out of it. But the truth is, your body is simply mirroring the storm happening inside. Ask yourself, has your body been acting in ways you can't explain lately? Researchers call this psychomotor change, and it happens because depression disrupts the brain's motor circuits, the same networks that control movement, reflexes, and physical energy. Your body isn't failing you. It's signaling distress. And when the body starts sending these signals, Physical pain is often not far behind. Sign number 9. Pain with no clear cause. Unexplained physical pain. Here's something many people never connect to depression: real physical pain. Not metaphorical pain. Actual aches that show up in the body. Headaches that linger for days. A tight chest that feels like someone is pressing down on it. A stomach that twists for no medical reason. A back that aches like you've been lifting heavy boxes, even though you haven't. You go to the doctor, do tests, everything comes back normal. Yet the discomfort doesn't go away. That's because emotional pain and physical pain share the same neural pathways. When the mind is hurting, the body often echoes it. So if your body has been speaking in aches lately, what might it be trying to tell you? Studies show that up to 60% of people with depression experience unexplained physical pain, because the brain's pain regulation system becomes hypersensitive under chronic stress. In other words, your nerves aren't lying. They're overwhelmed. And when physical pain enters the picture, emotions often start spilling out in unexpected ways. Sign number 10. Anger that doesn't make sense, irritability, and short fuse. Depression doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it looks like anger. You snap at people you care about over tiny things. You get irritated by noises, delays, questions, even by your own thoughts. Someone asks, "Are you okay?" And for some reason it makes you even more annoyed. You don't want to be this way. You don't want to yell or roll your eyes or feel that sudden heat rising in your chest. But the frustration comes out before you can stop it. It feels like your patience has shrunk to zero. Here's the truth. Anger is often a cover for pain your mind doesn't know how to express. So ask yourself, is your anger actually anger? Or is it exhaustion, sadness, and stress wearing a different mask? Research shows that depression can disrupt emotional regulation, making your brain more reactive to stressors that normally wouldn't bother you. It's not a personality flaw. It's your nervous system in survival mode. And when emotions start spilling out like this, your thoughts often drift into darker territory. Sign number 11. Thoughts that scare you. Hopeless or dark thoughts. This is the sign most people are afraid to admit, even to themselves. It's when your mind drifts into dark territory, not because you want it to, but because you feel emotionally exhausted. You start thinking things like, "I just want this feeling to stop," or "What's the point of trying anymore?" These thoughts don't always look dramatic. Sometimes they show up quietly, like a whisper at the end of a long day. Sometimes they appear when you're overwhelmed, disappointed, or feeling trapped. And here's what many people don't realize. These thoughts are not a reflection of who you are. They're a sign that your emotional system is overloaded and craving relief. So if your mind has been slipping into dark what-ifs, what is it trying to protect you from? Psychologists say that hopeless thoughts aren't about wanting an ending. They're about wanting a break from emotional pain. It's the brain's distress signal, not your true intention. And when your thoughts reach this level, your behavior often begins to change too. Sign number 12. The disappearing act. Social withdrawal. When depression deepens, people often start pulling away, not because they don't care, but because they're tired of pretending. You stop replying to messages. You ignore calls. You turn down plans with vague excuses like, "I'm not feeling well," even when you don't fully understand why. Being around others feels exhausting. Smiling feels forced. Conversations feel like you're performing a role you no longer have the energy to play. So staying home, staying silent, feels easier, safer, quieter. But isolation is tricky. It feels comforting at first, and then it starts feeding the depression. Your world shrinks, your thoughts get louder, and loneliness slowly becomes the new normal. Ask yourself, are you avoiding people or avoiding the pressure to act okay? Therapists explain that withdrawal is the mind's attempt to conserve emotional energy. But in the long run, it can intensify the very symptoms you're trying to escape. It's not a failure. It's a signal that you're carrying more than your system can handle. And now that we've covered all 12 signs, let's bring it together. So if any of these signs felt familiar, even just one or two, please remember something important. It doesn't mean you're weak, broken, or failing at life. It means your mind has been carrying more than it knows how to handle. Depression is not a personality. It's not a flaw. It's a condition, a real one, and it shows up differently for everyone. Some people get sad, some get numb, some get angry, some pull away. But all of these are signals, not definitions of who you are. The moment you recognize these signs, you're already taking back a bit of power. Awareness is the first step toward healing, and you don't have to take the next steps alone. Help exists, support exists, and more people understand what you're feeling than you might realize. If this video helped you understand yourself a little more, or made you feel a little less alone, consider subscribing so you don't miss the next one. And if you feel comfortable, share in the comments. Which sign surprised you the most? Your story might be the reason someone else feels seen today. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.